Welcome to the AJ Sports Show. This is Sunday night. You'll probably see this tomorrow morning on a Monday. Today I'll talk about the college football week 3 and basically how most of the teams are doing. I'll upload the NFL's week 2 on Tuesday after the Monday Night Football. So let's get this started. So the first 8 games of week 3, Miami blows out Bethune Cookman. Miami 3-0 right now. They beat Miami, Ohio, and they beat Texas A&M in a crazy game. They basically do what they have to do. Bethune Cookman, lower classification school, basically beat them. Van Dyke's having a much better season. Memphis is 3-0. They beat Navy 28-24. Maryland is 3-0. Maryland beat Townsend, Charlotte, and they beat Virginia. Virginia's terrible. I think a lot of people know that. Army beats UTSA. Like most of these games are important. Let's go to the Saturday games. Oklahoma crushes Tulsa. This was a huge, I won't say a huge win, but a nice win because their previous game against SMU, they let SMU hang around for so long until the fourth quarter. So a huge win for the Sooners. Georgia escapes themselves against South Carolina. Georgia was down 14-3 at half, but they were able to put South Carolina in submission in the second half, winning 24-14. This Georgia offense just doesn't look as good as last year for whatever reason. Carson Beck isn't playing horrible, but has he really been that great? That's an interesting question. They're definitely missing Tom Monken as their offensive coordinator, I'll tell you that. This Georgia team is still a great team, just probably they look very vulnerable this year. I'll talk about another SEC team that looks very vulnerable. But, Tom, you want me to shit on Purdue? Here, I'm going to shit on Purdue. They lost to a fucking fruit. They lost to a goddamn fruit called the Syracuse Orange. This guy named Garrett Schrader only completed 50% of his passes, but hey, he ran all over the Purdue's defense. 195 yards and 4 rushing touchdowns. 7.8 yards per carry. Purdue's defense allowed the average of 6.2 yards per carry. Hudson Card played okay. But okay, it's not enough. Purdue's going to struggle to make a bowl game this year. I don't know. Graham Harrell just seems like a locale out there at offensive coordinator. As far as I'm concerned, just not as good as 2022. And it's only, the reality is here, the simple is, they only made it a Big Ten championship game because the Big Ten West was just hot garbage. It's just that simple. Michigan, ranked number 2. I think they're still ranked number 2. I'll check the rankings in a minute. But they did what they had to do. They beat Bowling Green. J.J. McCarthy, though, hasn't really looked good so far. He needs to play a lot better if Michigan wants to go back to the playoffs. Florida State, they whipped LSU in the second half, crushed Southern Miss. They let a not-so-good Boston College team hang around all game long. They only won by 2 points. Yes, every single year, a team like Florida, like a great team, always has like a close game with one team they shouldn't be close with. This seems to be the one. Florida State got tightened up a little bit. Texas and Wyoming was a little bit interesting until the fourth quarter. Texas had a letdown game after they beat Alabama 34-24. That was kind of the high. Texas is still 3-0. Still a win. They would have to do against Wyoming. They do have to tighten up just a little bit. Ohio State's offense, they're starting to get things going. They're starting to get on the roll after against Indiana, where they just did not play well at all. But Ohio State's offense started to get going. Penn State looks great. They beat Illinois 30-14. Penn State, their best win so far is probably Illinois. West Virginia is terrible. But there will be a little hiccups of Penn State later on the season. They'll test them. Washington, their offense is dominant. Michael Penix Jr. is a Heisman contender at this point. They crushed Michigan State. Michigan State, they're going to be a train wreck because their head coach decided is going to be accused of sexual harassment. That's a whole story on its own. So he may or may not be fired. Have fun, Michigan State fans. It's probably the better if they actually have to fire Mel Tucker because what kind of a contract did they send? Mel Tucker has like a ridiculous buyout. So probably a better thing if if all this shit's true, Mel Tucker has to get off the door. Notre Dame, unfortunately, guys, they look good. They crushed Central Michigan. Notre Dame's has had some dominant wins. I know they're against lower classification schools. Well, their biggest win's NC State. NC State's a solid team. But, boys, Notre Dame's legit. Yeah, that's going to be fun. Oh, boy, you want to talk about a team that hasn't played well? Alabama. They're a train wreck right now. Last week, they lost to Texas. And they decided against South Florida they were going to bench Jalen Monroe for Tyler Buckner. He was awful. He gets replaced by Ty Simpson. Not really that much better either. They had no offense against South Florida. Barely wins 17-3. Well, Alabama fans, get ready because this is not good. Jalen Monroe is probably your best quarterback. And he can't read a damn defense. Yes, he can scramble to hell, but he can't read a goddamn defense. Just not good. Tennessee, oh boy. Tennessee had a lot of hopes, right? They lost to Graham Mertz, a one-game wonder. Remember like 2 years ago where Graham Mertz had like a 6-touchdown game against Illinois? That's like the only good game he's ever had. Apparently, mediocre numbers are good enough to beat Tennessee. Joe Milton was okay. He was just okay. I mean, Trevor Etienne ran all over their ass. I mean, Florida just beat them from the very beginning. From the second quarter, they scored 20 points. And, yeah, not good for Tennessee. Tennessee fans have a lot of hopes. Well, Tennessee fans are crazy enough. They always get their hopes on the littlest thing. They got hoped of the Butch Jones era. Utah's been looking pretty good despite no Cam Rising. They beat Florida. They escaped themselves against Baylor. But, man, oh, God, Utah's going to have a slight hiccups. They got UCLA next week. They got Oregon State. They got USC and Oregon later on this season. Oh, boy. Utah's going to go like 8-4 probably. It's just, I mean, they desperately need Cam Rising. Oregon looks great. They smash Hawaii, although they did barely beat Texas Tech. LSU, after their loss to Florida State, they went and beat down Mississippi State. It was just a beatdown. Jalen Daniels dominated for the air all game long. Kansas State, this was a little bit of a surprise. Missouri starts 3-0. They upset Kansas State. Brady Cook had a great game, despite not really great in rushing numbers for Missouri. Doesn't matter, though. They were able to beat him by a game-winning field goal, a 61-yarder, too, which is absolutely insane. So they beat Kansas State. Oregon State looks pretty legit with DJ Uiagalelei, or Lagaway. I still have trouble pronouncing his last name, but DJ Lagaway looks pretty good. They beat San Diego State. They're going to have a little bit of a tougher opponent against Washington State. We'll see how they do. Ole Miss, they look good. They beat Georgia Tech 48-23. Colorado and Colorado State. Wasn't this interesting? Colorado's had some dramatic games. They beat TCU in dramatic fashion. They crushed Nebraska. This game had some beef. Colorado State head coach was talking shit. So it was just, yeah. And then, like, in the first quarter, Travis Hunter gets cheap shot, knocked out of the game, probably out for a couple weeks. So this game was very, very, very interesting. Let's just look at the scores. It was almost back and forth. So Colorado State jumps into a 28-17 lead. It was in the fourth quarter, but Colorado State was able to rally, get a touchdown late, get a 2-point conversion, and win in overtime. Double overtime, actually. 43-35. Colorado fans they're probably the most excited fans of college football right now, as well as you should be. I mean, Deion Sanders looks legit as a head coach. The team looks good. I don't think they're not going to win the Pac-12, I don't think. But they're going to be a good team. And a team that's going to be fun to watch. North Carolina, after crushing South Carolina, barely getting past App State for the second year in a row, handles their business against Minnesota 31-30. 13 action. Duke looks good. They crushed Northwestern. Northwestern's just a bad team. They got themselves into deep shit. Washington State looks very good. Their offense looks explosive. They beat down Northern Colorado 64 to... Oh my God. 64 points. Damn Colorado State. UCLA's 3-0. They're good. Iowa, congratulations. You could score more than 40 points. Yay. You beat Western Michigan. Liberty is 3-0. Louisville, Indiana. This was very interesting. Louisville gets into a 21-0 lead. IU comes back. And Louisville almost allowed the game to be tied. It was a 4th and goal from the 1. IU just couldn't score from the 1-yard line. So Louisville barely hanging on against Indiana. Wisconsin, after a loss to Washington State, they beat Georgia Southern. Wake Forest barely beats Old Dominion. Baylor wins their first game against Long freaking Island. Congratulations. Iowa State loses to Ohio. Oh my God. Like, what? NC State crushes VMI after their loss to Notre Dame. Ball State, congratulations. You beat Indiana State. Indiana State's terrible. Virginia Tech's not good. They lost to Rutgers. Rutgers is 3-0. My God. What the hell? A&M, after a loss to Miami, beats Louisiana Monroe. Nice bounce back victory for them. Auburn beats Samford. Auburn's 3-0. Nebraska won their first game. Congratulations, Nebraska. You can win a game. Yay. You beat Northern Illinois. Vandy lost to UNLV. My God. Miami, Ohio beats Cincinnati. Oklahoma State gets crushed by South Alabama. Wow. What the hell? BYU beats Arkansas in a shootout, 38-31. West Virginia actually beats Pitt. What? Clemson, congratulations. You could score 40 points, but you were playing Florida Atlantic. TCU beats Houston. Samford loses to Sacramento State. Fresno State shuts out Arizona State. Arizona beats UTEP. Kansas is 3-0. They beat Nevada in a close game. So, let's check the rankings for this week. So here's your AP top 25. Georgia's still number 1. Michigan's still number 2. Texas and Florida State flip-flop. So Texas is 3. Florida State's 4. USC's at 5. Ohio State 6. Penn State 7. Washington 8. Notre Dame 9th. Oregon's number 10. Utah's ranked 11th. LSU's 12th. 13th, Alabama. They're out of the top 10. Oregon State's 14. Ole Miss 15. My Sooners are 16th. North Carolina 17th. Duke's 18th. Colorado drops to 19th. Miami jumps to 20th. Washington State 21. 22 ranked UCLA. Tennessee jumps big time from 11th to 23. Iowa's 24th and Florida's ranked 25th. Those are your top 25 rankings. So that'll be it for your college football week 3 review. I'll do the predictions on both the NFL and college football and big games on Wednesday. And Tuesday, I'll do my reaction of the NFL's Week 2 season. So that'll be it for this episode. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.